to the Sunless Citadel, Saltmarsh, Isle of Dread introduction seminar that everybody will be having a test on. And no, I'm just kidding. It's just an intro to what we've been playing for the past couple of months. And online today we have our regular contributor, Greg. I don't know if the other two, Dave or I know one is not. They're fishing in Alaska. The other one's really busy, and we'll see if Dave can join us, but we don't know. This is basically just for those who haven't been following along because we haven't been publishing these. We published one last week, which was episode 7, and realizing that people that saw that would have no idea what's going on, thought maybe we'll just go and tell you a little bit about what's happened and help you catch up. So um, that's the purpose of today. And so, Greg, do you want to why don't you introduce your character because your character's backstory had a bit to do with setting everything up. So why don't you let us know who you are?
I play Cain Arcados, the dwarven druid.
Mm-hmm.
He is noticeably missing his, I forget if I said right or left eye, but one of his eyes.
Right, I think it's right. Yeah, I think it's right.
Right?
Yep.
Missing his right eye, and you see a big scar coming down his face that he got in an encounter with the bear in the Great White North.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Not Canadian.
Originally...
Not Canadian, but yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Cain's originally from Icewind Dale.
Icewind Dale.
In 10 Towns, and he joined the Dwarven army and encountered a polar bear on one of his expeditions that took his right eye, but he's got its claw around his neck and hopes to one day kill the beast.
Excellent. Yeah, he's that bear was an important one, and you're from Icewind, but you're a dwarf, and you have some you've got some family, don't you? That sort of lives nearby.
Notoriously an Uncle Unkhammer,
mm-hmm.
Who's I think recently moved to Saltmarsh.
He has moved to Saltmarsh, and what he said to you, basically, the four of you had also come from Saltmarsh and surrounding areas, but essentially he sent a letter. You guys knew that you had to meet you all meet in an inn in Oakhurst. Let me just read to you what this letter said because it was that sort of set everything up for Sunless Citadel. So let's do that, and then we can talk about what you did, who else was there, and all that stuff. So he sent a note to you at the the Old Boar Inn was where you were staying, and he's left a note for you. And he said, adventurers, welcome to Oakhurst, and congratulations on accepting the challenge of solving the mystery of the stolen seedlings. As we discussed, every summer for the past number of years, the residents of Oakhurst see a group of goblins come to town, and they sell the town people a magic apple that cures the patient of whatever ails them. There's only one of these apples sold, and it usually sells for 75 gold pieces. The seeds are often used to create new seedlings, but every year, after the seedlings grow to about a foot or so, the townspeople think that the goblins sneak into town and steal them. These seedlings never seem to stay in the ground very long. Venture forth to the Sunless Citadel, not far from here, and find out what's happened. Oh, and by the way, rumors are that other adventurers have gone forth as well, but have not returned for a long time. Someone at the Old Boar Inn may have some more information. Good luck, and may your adventures be bold and bountiful. From Uncle Unkhammer. So that's what sort of kicked it all off. And there were some other adventurers that you met as part of this mission. Do you remember who they were? You can talk about the ones that you already know because they're still with us. So
there was Gonf, who I believe was a halfling rogue.
Mm-hmm.
There was Axel Rose, the human paladin,
mm-hmm.
and Legolas.
Legolas
Legolas, the half-elf warlock, celestial warlock.
That's true. And by the way, I was just double checking a little bit. His image had a little cat in it, and he actually named his cat Syrup to go with his Legolas and his Egolas, which we have not role played at all for this whole time. So that's right. Yeah, and Gonf, yeah, the Gonf, the Halfling Rogue. So while you were at the old Borean, you also met some the patron who had hired those adventurers before you to go find out what had sort of the same thing. Why are these seedlings disappearing, and to find out a little bit more about these this apple. And that was the Hikruel family. I think it's Sharwin. Sharwin is the matriarch, and she had sent, as it turns out, hired a group, including her daughter and son. Her daughter was what was she? Was she a druid or she was a wizard? I think she was a wizard. And then her son was, I think, a ranger or a soldier or something like that. Uh, anyway, they were the ones that went first. You talked to Shireen. You said you guys would go and help, and the letter from Uncle Uncomer, you also did go and help. So, um, you didn't spend too much time at Oakhurst. You just went right to the mission, and you went and found the Sunless Citadel, which was in a ravine, not that far from about half a day's trip from the town. Um, we're not going to go through every room, but maybe do you want to? Why don't you just tell us of those characters that were there? The characters are there the whole time. Why don't you tell us of some of the key challenges you faced when you were down in the Sunless Citadel? And remember, there were two levels. First level had the kobolds and goblins, and then the second level had the big cavern and the final image. What were your
So
images?
first off, we faced off against rodents of unusual size
Hmm.
when we first descended down. And then shortly thereafter, I think we found the kobolds, and we found a friendly little crying kobold named Meepo.
Hmm. Meepo.
And he was crying about losing his pet dragon, which we were like, oh, they have a pet dragon.
Hmm.
And we kind of took him along to help us. We could help him. I think he took us to Ysadril, the kobold
Isadril.
queen.
Yep.
So we were kind of luckily we were able to talk our way through that part instead of having to fight all those kobolds.
Hmm.
But they charged us with bringing back Calcrix, the what color dragon was she?
Calcrix, the white dragon,
White dragon.
which Meepo was in charge of, and somehow he let her escape. Or I don't know if he let her escape. She just got out of Meepo's. He wasn't the best dragon handler, I think, in the land. But yeah.
We went into goblin territory and slayed a few of them before we came across Calcrix herself.
Hmm.
Uh, and we were able to negotiate with her. I think she blasted us with her dragon breath, though. That hurt.
She did. She did. That was a big one. Yep. Um.
We were able to kind of convince her to let us go through unharmed, and we'd give her a portion of our treasure that we found.
Mhm.
And then I think it was the big room with all the goblins, like
So
the
well, I can't remember. I think I remember who it was. Maybe your brash. He may be piet or very noble and pietous. Your paladin, but he also I think's a little brash sometimes. And was he the one that knocked down the door and just went in, or was it Lego? Somebody sort of went in.
that sounds like him,
Yeah.
or it was Gonf sneaking.
I
One of
don't
those
think I
two.
don't think it was I don't think it was Gomph, but anyway, somebody sort of walked in to what was affectionately known as Goblin Town, where dozens and dozens of goblins, not so happy to see you guys bursting in, and fight quickly ensued. But you did. There were some characteristics of the fight. That fight did not go too well for you guys, you being at
No,
first level. So, how many? You guys all go down?
I
Everybody.
think like everybody went down uh, and fell unconscious, and then the goblins kind of took us captive.
Hmm.
and I believe Meepo and Calcrix came in to scare them off,
So
or
yeah,
maybe Gonf
the
was
Gonf went
sneaking
back.
in.
Gonf went back to get Calcrix, who you hadn't necessarily befriended, but he wasn't as overtly hostile to you. So you managed to convince Calcrix to come in, and there was a sort of a standoff with, Calcrix and all these goblins and you guys. Long story short, uh, Calcrix basically took over Goblin Town. Uh, Everybody didn't want to get destroyed. Um, Including the goblin leader, who you didn't actually fight the goblin leader, did you? I can't even remember.
I think he jumped down the hole.
He, yeah, you were fighting him, and I think he either fell or got pushed. Regardless, he didn't fall. He didn't make the 80-foot drop down to the second level very well. What was his name? I can't remember. I have it all here somewhere. By the way, well, thanks to uh, Wizards of the Coast. This was what we were. Tales of the Yawning Portal was sort of our not just inspiration, but this module was run through them. It was the Sunless Citadel, very well-known module. I think written in 2000 for second. That wasn't three. I think it was two.
Third,
It was third edition. And of course Roll 20. So Roll 20, I got that on Roll 20. Had all the maps and all the icons and all the information. So that was extremely helpful. But in there, we had a lot of the details. So was it Dern or Dirk or something like
Durham, Durham,
Dern?
yeah.
Dern. Yeah, he was the sort of the hobgoblin or the goblin leader. You with the help of Calcrix, who now took over Goblin Town and let you guys pass, but with uh, the express direction that you were to return all of its treasure and all the treasure that was down below. He let you go through, and then you got to the second level.
And I
Um,
think Gonf pledged her service to the dragon in order for the dragon to come and save us.
Gonf did say she would be. Yeah, she pledged her service to it. That's right. That's right. And you did find out up there that the other adventurers had passed by. One had perished at the hands of this sort of hobgoblin leader. And I think there was another one that got eaten by rats, a dwarf that got eaten by, or was it a dwarf or somebody got eaten by rats?
Someone did.
Yeah. But you also, more importantly, you found out that the um, the second level was being sort of manned by this druid or this. Well, you didn't know it was a druid, I don't think at the time, but somebody that was sort of tending to the this great tree and was using the goblins for some of their labor. Um, they weren't exactly sure why, but they did know that once a year there was this fruit that came along. Um, and they didn't usually go down there that often, but you somehow, but they were there for a little bit. And you did manage to get down there, start exploring the place. Anything else that, so what sticks out for you when you got down to that second level?
I think we were attacked by some plant creatures, and when we disposed of those, Kane, with I think like a nat 20 perception check, could sense out a do not cross over level entrance to the Underdark down there.
That's right. There were some twig blights, and there was one big bad bugbear. I think you guys fought too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Ball
And
sag.
Balsag was dispatched very quickly. Um, that was supposed to be a
Yeah, he
little bit
took
of a
his
hard
helmet.
battle, but what was that?
I believe Kane took his like deer antler helmet, and he's now wearing it as a bear, which is comically undersized.
I think I think that's very true. Yeah, and at this point, you transformed at least once to a bear, right? You're a brown bear, right?
I
Um,
think when I went down to face the bugbear was the first time. I think
yeah,
that's where we leveled up to level 2.
that's right. And so I mean, level two was if level one was sort of a castle with lots of rooms that you were exploring, level two was a bit more open. There was more like gardens, big open space gardens that there was. fungus and plants growing all over the place, and most of the ceiling had this sort of purple incandescent glow to it. Um, and you did meet some goblins. Some goblins you did meet. There was a wasn't there like a symbol or a temple or shrine to a dragon that you'd met? No, it was a statue of a dragon or something like that.
I think they were dragon statues. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of what you deduced was this citadel at one point had been like a dragon cult I mean, the people in the citadel were worshippers of dragon kind. Um, and as you went along, you managed to find some sort of evidence of that on the walls, so, certain draconic writing, um, and eventually um, you found the entrance to this tree. So there was a big open area, sort of an underground cavern that was being tended uh, by um, and this is gonna kill me.
Belok?
Yeah, Belak, of course, the druid. Belak the druid. So Belak had been basically running this place, trying to find the secrets of growing plants in the dark, and also tending to this Gulthias tree, which the Gulthias tree was created from the wooden stake that had been driven through a vampire's heart. While as the vampire might have died, the life force entered the wood, and it was able to create a new tree. And this Gulthias tree, the Belak was tending this tree, and this tree was pure evil, and it was able to but it was able to create these once a year this fruit that cured you, but the seedlings would be creating these new twig blights and sort of spread the evil throughout the land. So you guys realize, oh great, that's not people in Oakhurst. They're probably gonna have to deal with that going forward. But what this tree also did was, um, it could create thralls, and you realize that Shireen, it's not Shireen. Oh, come on, I can't remember all the names because hey, it was a long time ago. It was
Howgate and Sherwin?
Sir Bradford and Sharwin. Sharwin here. Hucriel, so the daughter, and this one of the paladins, Sir Bradford, they had both been turned into thralls by this tree. So they were at the beck and call of Belak and the tree. There was also a big frog. There was a whole bunch of twig blights, and you also found, and before that, just before you went and confronted Belak, you found his workshop, and in the workshop there were some coins, there were some magic items,
And I think a
scrolls.
glyph of warding that went off when we opened the book.
There was basically a glyph of warning that just I mean, basically fireballed into the room. It wasn't exactly a fireball, but close enough. And I don't think anyone went down, but somebody got pretty injured. I think a couple of you were standing outside, so you lucked out. Uh, but yeah, so that was yeah, just lesson. When checking, maybe we should check for traps, or whenever there's check for wards.
Yeah.
Long story short, you did have a battle. Anything you remember about the battle?
I think we found a scroll along the way that let us cast a fire spell that got us to start burning the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think when the tree was down, the two, Sherwin and Sir
Sir Bradford.
Bradford, turned against Belok.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might have done the killing blow on him, or at least helped. But then they were also attacking us, so they weren't entirely on our side.
They were sort of beyond redemption, but they were more angry with Bilak, who'd commanded them all this time. They were not under the power of the tree anymore, but they were still fully corrupted. So, but you did manage to destroy the tree. You burned it down. You killed Bilak. You got a number of items from that, including a really useful tool, Shatter Spike, I think it was from
Yeah,
as one of the swords. And a wand. I think there's a
one even tingle.
wand of entangle. Yep. Anyway, you managed to clear that out. Then you went back up. You managed to clear out the lair, and you didn't realize, yes, there was a path to the Underdark, which was probably how the goblins originally got in here. that might be further adventure for a different time. But right now, that's sort of closed off. You guys managed to get up. Calcrix was running things. You did realize that there were, I mean, goblins were basically either had gone or were serving Calcrix, the new, and Usadril. I think it wasn't Usadril, the head kobold. She was also now sort of praying down to Calcrix, who was running the show. You guys managed to get out of there by Gomph. Gomph said she would still be indebted to Calcrix. You guys did some deception, I think. You gave her quite a bit of gold and treasure, but not all of it. And I can't remember how, if it was.
And I think there was a book about dragons that we found down there that
That's
we were able
right.
to order away.
That's right. That was like a pretty expensive, good book about dragons and Calcrix and Usadra. Like, this is hugely valuable. We should, appreciate that. Anyway, long story short, you got through that. There was a significant part of the first level that you didn't go through. You went back and did it relatively quickly. Um, and you found, there's some traps that you managed to get through, and there was a long dormant troll, which was in the sarcophagus, and you had a battle with it. You managed to defeat it, with not a lot of difficulty, but you did, and you found some additional treasure and magic items that way as well. Then you were done. You completed Sunless Citadel. You went back to Oakhurst. You celebrated. The Cruel family was greatly in your debt, even though you weren't able to save their kids, but they were appreciated your efforts. And Uncle had also said, "That's fantastic. Come and see me in Saltmarsh. I've got something else for you." And with that, we ended. You all leveled up to level 2. I think it was level. Did you level up to 3 or 2?
Three.
I think at the end you
Three.
leveled up to 3. Yeah, just got to level 3. And then you said your goodbyes to Oakhurst.
We also
And with
said
that,
goodbyes to Gonf.
we did say goodbye to Gomph too. So Gomph, now tell me if I'm wrong. Did she say that the adventuring life wasn't for her, or did she say that? How did she leave? Why did she leave you guys again? Do you remember?
I can't remember exactly.
I
Um,
think, you know what? I think
something like that. I think she did leave us
maybe she
her
left a
share of the
note.
treasure.
She left all of her stuff, right?
Yeah, I think
But
that's one dagger that we found.
I'm just gonna go back. I think she mentioned it in. hmm, Here we go. So let's read this. So Gonf left this note for the group at the bar when you guys all woke up on the morning after. So my fellow adventurers, I will forever remember my adventures with you guys and surviving the Sunless Citadel. Thank you for your courage, your bravery, and your wits. And most importantly, thank you for the laughs. So many humorous moments that will be remembered. May the wind be to your backs and the sun on your face. I leave all my golden possessions, including my +1 dagger, except for my trusty hand bow and my thieves' tools, and I will see you all on that long old dusty road someday. And then, and I think you said, "Farewell, Gonf. You will always be remembered. Songs will be sung about your slaying of the Gulthias tree in the halls of Arcatos, which is, I guess, the halls of your family, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay, so that was the end of, I guess that was the end of part one, of section one. You guys got up to level 3. So I'm gonna actually we're gonna take a quick break here and start up in a second.